What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. In today's video, we are going to discuss why Jaden Ivey is primed to have a breakout year as far as I can tell. I really think that as every day passes, I'm becoming more and more of a believer that Jaden Ivey can take a huge leap forward this season. So in this video, I have 5 reasons why I am starting to believe that. Number 1. It's going to be just about the past couple days and what we've seen from Ivey on the floor. So, of course, yesterday, the Pistons played their first preseason game against the Bucks, in which they won. And without a doubt, Jaden Ivey was the biggest head turner of that game. He was the Pistons' leading scorer. He was 3 for 3 on three-pointers. He didn't turn over the ball once. He got to the free throw line. He looked incredibly fast, as always. Overall, it was just a fantastic game for Ivey. And I know it's super early, and I'm not trying to write home about preseason games. That's not what I'm doing. But when you combine that with the fact that just the day before that, at the Pistons open practice, the biggest takeaway from me there when I was in person really was that Jaden Ivey looked fantastic. It's really becoming a trend right now, and I know it's super early, but every single time I've seen the Pistons take the floor this past week, my biggest takeaway from those times watching has been, wow, Ivey really looks like a better player right now. So definitely some promising stuff just within those first couple moments with the team this year. So the number 2 reason is going to kind of relate to that, and it's about the preseason buzz around him, and namely what Trajan had said about him. During the offseason, it was reported from Trajan at Media Day that Jaden Ivey was the only Piston that they really had to pull back from even working harder. He talked about how the entire team has been locked in, been working hard over the summer, etc. But he did note that the one player that they had to pull back and hold back a bit from even going harder was Jaden Ivey. So that just tells me that this offseason for Jaden Ivey has not only been super productive, he has been super motivated and also healthy. So it sounds like this offseason went is about as perfect as it possibly could have been for Jaden Ivey, which is really, really good to hear. And I believe that that work is starting to show itself, and we will talk more about that in a couple of the coming points as far as individual stuff that it seems he has worked on. But reason number 3, a reason that I will be very excited to not have to talk about on this channel anymore, and I believe that day will come soon enough as it's starting to truly become old news, but that was just the fact that Monty Williams is no longer the coach of this team. I think that you could probably find the biggest Monty Williams supporter in this entire world, and even that person would agree with you that Jaden Ivey and Monty Williams were just not a very good player-coach fit. Monty Williams, of course, started off the year by having Killian Hayes take over that starting role for the Pistons. Jaden Ivey's role was reduced, very, very low minutes for a second-year, 5th overall player to start off the year last year, which led to Jaden Ivey having very inconsistent games, inconsistent minutes, inconsistent production, and just overall a very strange year that seemed to not really allow him to grow or develop whatsoever. Towards the end of the year, of course, he did start getting more minutes, and the production wasn't exactly incredible, but there was a lot of moments last year where it seemed like Jaden Ivey was just kind of a bit lost, and a lot of that might have to have done with the fact that him and Monty Williams just weren't exactly a match made in heaven. As I mentioned, I really don't want to continue to talk about Monty Williams. I want to let bygones be bygones, but I feel like that's just such an important part to this story and a very obvious reason that someone would believe that Jaden Ivey will likely flourish and finally be able to reach some of his potential this upcoming season that he wasn't able to meet last year. Reason number 4, it's going to be his added strength. When I walked into the gym the other day for open practice, my biggest and first thing that I noticed was the fact that Jaden Ivey looks a lot less wiry and more filled out. Even in this picture that I have on the screen right now, you can see his triceps are huge, way bigger than I remember them being in previous years. I haven't gone back and looked at pictures or done any sort of comparisons as far as trying to really investigate his body composition, but just off of my eyes and memory, it's very obvious that Jaden Ivey has put on some muscle this offseason. And the biggest thing is, it seems to be functional, and I think that it's one of the things that will really, really help him out. Reason being is coming into the league, Jaden Ivey was talked about as somebody who can really get downhill. He was getting comparisons to guys like John Morant and Russell Westbrook, but in his first 2 seasons, his rim finishing really hasn't been that great. Now, once he's got a little bit more of this added strength, which he does now, it's going to be easier for him to be able to use that strength to fight through contact at the rim and not have to rely on just getting around his guy for an open layup, but now he can get around his guy and then maybe muscle his way through a help defender at the rim as well. I think that this added strength will also help him get to the free throw line more, which we did even see just in the first preseason game. He was able to get to the free throw line more than anybody else on the Pistons team. And it's just going to become way harder for the opposing defense to stop Jaden Ivey now that he's a bit stronger, because he's already one of the fastest players in the league. So now they've got 2 things working against them. And the last reason is going to be his jump shot seems to be improved. I noticed that as well at the practice the other day, just in the warm-ups. That was one of the things that caught my eye outside of the fact that he looked stronger. His shot looked way less kind of quirky and all over the place. His jump shot coming into the league was obviously not a pretty one. It wasn't nearly as inefficient on the numbers and stat sheet as someone like Asar Thompson's, but it wasn't exactly pleasing to the eye, and the mechanics looked like that they had left something to be desired. Right now, the way he's shooting the ball, not only in the small sample size of just very, very small sample size of just 1 preseason game and a practice that I watched, but the mechanics look way, way more simple. The shot doesn't look as all over the place. It doesn't seem like there is many moving parts. It just looks way more clean. Now, he doesn't exactly have a Klay Thompson-esque picture-perfect release nowadays, but compared to where it was at in his rookie year or even his sophomore year, it does look like that he has probably also been working with Fred Vinson, because his mechanics do look a little bit cleaner and the shot overall looks a lot smoother. So between all of that stuff, just the way that he has performed the past couple days, the added strength, the shot looking better, the likelihood of him having more opportunity under a new coaching staff, I really think that there's a good chance that at the end of this season, we walk away saying, wow, thank God Jaden Ivey broke out. That really changes the way that we're viewing this team going forward. Now, I'm not going to exactly bookmark this and staple this to the top of the channel or anything like that. I know that there's a real world where plenty of players have came out hot after summer break and kind of regressed back to the way they were. I'm not naive to that fact that that also could happen, but just from seeing things like the physical improvements and the shot mechanic improvements, I really, really do think that Jaden Ivey is going to take a big step forward this year, and to be honest, I just can't wait to watch it. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys feeling as high on Ivey as I am right now? Let me know how you guys feel. We'll catch up soon.